What's your name? How old are you?
Sure.
How long you been riding? What kind of bike you ride?
Yeah, my name's Jack O'Keefe. I'm ancient. I'm almost 40. I've been riding for 22 years with a gap in the middle. I ride a 2023 Indian Scout Rogue.
Cool. What first got you into motorcycling?
My first duty station in the Army, I met a bunch of guys. They all rode. So one day they were like, hey, you should buy a bike. And I was like, yeah. And they were like, buy this one. It's perfect. It's a CBR 1000 RR. It was not perfect for a first bike. But I still fell in love with it, kept riding. Ended up keeping that bike for about 10 years and then moved on to some other bikes, and yeah.
Good. What were your biggest challenges with that being your first bike?
Not having anyone to teach me how to ride responsibly, especially with a very high-powered bike. Back then, intro training where I was stationed was like, hey, ride to the end of this parking lot, ride back, all right, you're cool. And then, having a lot of friends that were experienced riders but didn't know how to teach you skills, mixed with a very powerful bike. So a lot of challenges in learning to ride safely and responsibly in the beginning of it, for sure.
Very good. I had to pick one that you can think of, most positive experience you've had on a motorcycle.
Ooh, man. There's a couple of really good ones, but I think probably the most positive experience I had was I took the BRC with total control, and then like 3 months after that, I was just out riding and ran into a participant from that same BRC. We ended up stopping at a coffee shop together, went out and had a great ride together. Both of us had ridden before we took the BRC, and we just talked for 30 minutes about how amazing the transformation in our riding was after actually learning how to do it correctly. And now we're friends and we still ride together, so yeah.
Tell me about your sketchiest experience you've ever had on a motorcycle.
Sure. That same CBR, that was my first bike. I hit an armadillo doing about 70 miles an hour on that bike, and it was terrible. The front fork collapsed, the bike dove into the pavement, and I essentially Supermaned off the bike. I landed on my face, on my helmet, and slid down the freeway on my face. But I was wearing full gear. I had just a little bit of damage on my cheeks just from rocks and stuff after my visor broke away, but nothing significant. I had a little road rash on the inside of my wrist, but I was wearing full gear, and I wasn't doing excessive speed, so I was okay. The funniest thing about it though was the armadillo walked away. My bike did not.
What's your best advice for a brand new beginner rider?
Take it slow. Take it slow. Take a class and then expand your world slowly. We all get out of these classes and get our first bikes and we want to get out there and ride with our friends and rip down the freeway. But the reality of it is that the skills that you learn early on in your career can save your life much later in your life, but only if you continuously practice them and give yourself the time to let them sink in and become muscle memory. Just taking a BRC doesn't make you an expert rider. An expert rider is someone who's practiced those skills to the point where they don't even have to think about them. If that moment happens, they can just execute.
How much motorcycle training have you taken, and what kind of entities were those?
Sure, yeah. So I took an MSF course 22 years ago. I took a track riding course about 3 years after that was a really good course, but very specifically tailored to certain aspects. In addition to that, I've taken the BRC. I took another MSF course a couple of months ago because I wanted to compare to Total Control. And then I've taken the Total Control IRC and another track riding class.
Very good. So out of all those, which one was your favorite?
This is gonna sound kind of crazy because it was oh, track riding, that's gotta be your favorite. My favorite, honestly, was the Total Control BRC because one, it opened my eyes to how much I didn't know about riding motorcycles, even though I'd ridden for many, many years previous to that. And I made friends that I'm still friends with today. It also launched me in this direction of becoming an instructor and understanding how I can positively impact the world of motorcycle riding.
Yeah. Do you recommend Instructor Cory?
Oh, without question. It's Instructor Cory's fault that I'm Instructor Jack. So it was kind of his idea, his kind of propelling me forward and encouraging me that I was capable of it and that I had something of value to share. And so I literally would not be standing here in this fancy yellow shirt without Instructor Cory. So that alone is worth his body weight in, motorcycle parts. So, yeah.
Cool. Is this your dream bike that you currently own? If not, what is your ultimate dream bike if money wasn't an object, anything like that?
Sort of, yes, and sort of no. I kind of have dream bikes in 3 separate categories. It's my dream bike as far as cruisers go.
Okay.
But I will get another CBR, 600 RR. I've wanted another CBR since I totaled the first one. Well, the Armadillo totaled it. That's not the point. And then I also have a dream touring bike. I'm probably leaning very heavily Africa Twin for a tourer, which is a popular choice, I know, but I still love them. So yeah, kind of 3 dream bikes.
Awesome, love that. Any last words of wisdom or anything else you'd like to share?
Look, follow Instructor Cory on YouTube and all other social media platforms, and come out here and take a BRC riding course wherever it's available. Get the training, especially at higher levels. Don't get complacent. Just keep learning, keep being a better rider.
Awesome, thank you. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, buddy, no worries.